What's up, everybody? Big Jonas here, coming to you live on a very exciting day of Bitcoin price action. Sounds pretty good. How's everybody doing today? Remember to hit that thumbs up button if you enjoy my content. Remember to follow me on Twitter as well. I am at Big Jonas. Remember to hit that thumbs up button and obviously hit that subscribe button so you'll know whenever I go live on the YouTube here. I will look at this price action here. Bitcoin blasting through all that resistance, this gorgeous bull channel here. Bitcoin has been just pumping up with higher lows and higher highs, and finally we had our breakout today, blasting through many key resistances. We'll definitely want to talk about that, and still riding the coattails of a very bullish stock market as the Dow, the S&P as well are putting in higher, continue to drift higher here as we get our GDP numbers out for Q1, minus 4%. So the GDP drops 4%. We just lost 15 million jobs, and the stock market is just pumping like crazy and taking all sorts of things with it. So Bitcoin here, let's go on the 15-minute chart. Now, what are we looking for here? We're looking for some sort of final push to say, when are we going to find that resistance area? People that have been shorting this market for days here, almost for weeks, this is squeezing them out here. That is actually adding fuel to this pump here as people were trying to short in this area continuously, stair-stepping higher. Other than the fact that we hit just a hair under $8,800, so far we're not really seeing any meaningful and notable rejection. Look at a horizontal here. We can try and get a sense of where we are currently and what this area has represented in the past. We can see here, let's go back a little farther. Come on. There we go. Why isn't this scanning? So what we have here, $8,800 resistance. Why isn't this zooming out? Come on. Let's go to the 4-hour instead. There we go. So we got lots of history here, $8,800. I remember this area very clearly in June of 2019, that initial rejection here. I remember we were at the underside of this area. Okay, lots of history here. We could even go back 2018, 2017. Okay, lots of areas of resistance and support. We actually broke above this $8,500 area here, which is actually really important. But we can see that there is history in this area of supports and resistances, and once again we are there in that mode. I want to stay with the 4-hour. Let's look at some indicators here. MA50, 200, 100. Everything is very bullish here. We have the proper sequence: the 50, then the 100, then the 200 here. We have ever since Bitcoin was able to regain support on the MA200 and the 4-hour and back tested here, that was definitely a very clear sign that we had some bullish momentum, potentially still in the ripper here. Now, what are we talking about here? What are we talking about? This impulsive move here we had, okay, that was very substantial. Our pullback. And now our extension, we're almost at a 2618 of that initial move here when we had that low, lower low, lower low, 1, 2, 3. There's our advance. There's our impulsive move there. We came back. Now we fell back here literally to the golden pocket right there, 618 to 65. We hit it. Boom. And then there's our advance here. So I think we can call this a 1-2. Now, is this all of 3? If we look at it that way, then let's think about our extension from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's extend 3 and correlate that to 5 currently. Boom, 1382. So there's a couple ways we can definitely look at this from an Elliott perspective. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just quantify 1 and 3 and make sure that 3. Oh yeah, so 3 definitely hit a 1, 2, 3, 6. So that's definitely valid for 3 there. So what are we trying to figure out here? We're trying to figure out where we could find that resistance. Right now, the 1382 at 8808 is that currently hitting that resistance here. But this could also be 3, very extended 3 here. And as long as 4, 4 can retrace pretty much as low as, I guess 4 can retrace really as low as $7,300, but I wouldn't want to see that. But we can definitely do something on a much larger, grander scale here, because either this is an extended 3 or a really extended 5. I want to look at the Bollinger Bands. Okay, we'll start with our 4 hour, way above the 4, way above the 6, way above the 12, way above the daily. Get back to that in a second. 3 day. Okay, 3 day. Upper BB's at $9,100 there. And the weekly, we broke through the middle Bollinger in the weekly. Remember, that's the MA20. Okay, look how wide our weekly Bollingers still are. This is still incredibly wide here. We can basically range for months until these Bollingers tighten up. Okay, I'd be very surprised to see this continue to rip with the BBs this wide. And I'll give you a differential here of the tightening we had here before the liftoff, and tightening. Okay, and then there was our run once we rode up, but they were much tighter here. Super wide still. Even see it in linear. Okay, so I still think this does set a narrative for price action to range while the Bollingers eventually get a lot tighter on the weekly, and then we can actually do a much more meaningful trend move there. So there's still time. There's still time to figure this out here, but we've actually engaged a very wide range here, frankly, from $6,800 all the way up to $8,800 there. That $2,000 area has been, support, resistance. We're still snap dab in the middle of it there. Let's go back to our daily. Let's look at where we are currently. On the daily. Guys, hope you're enjoying hanging out with me today on a very nice day outside. Got 70 of my closest friends. Remember to hit that thumbs up button if you're enjoying the content. All right, so we're way above the Bollingers. Now, when we saw the EMA 12, EMA 26, let's make this bigger for y'all. When we saw that spread, there we go, happening here, very curious. There was our break, okay? There was our back test. That was such a great bullish signal right there, where the EMAs just touched support, held that bull cross. Another bit back test there, and then there was our expansion right there. So now we're expanding. The same way we expanded bullishly here, okay, we have to keep an eye on how the spread is, how far apart these become. If they get too overextended, okay, that's an area where you tend to see the price action rein back in. If they get too extended on the downside, similarities do persist. So right now, we're doing that spread there, definitely not that far apart at all, relatively speaking. But let's keep an eye on that if these get too far spread, especially the price action above them, okay? Looking from historical stances here, okay? Big green candles get yay far above the blue line there, okay? So we are really extended above our EMAs here on the daily, EMA 12, EMA 26. Even when we ride up there, we don't get crazy until topping patterns here when we get way too above that EMA. These are my personal favorites for low time period moving averages, not necessarily time frame. We've been talking for weeks about the confluence of resistance, MA 100, MA 200 on the daily. There they are, 8K. Bitcoin says, screw you guys, I'm blasting right through you. And that is definitely what's going on here. Once that MA50 was found to support back tested right here, it was also another very nice clear signal that the bulls were in control here. So now this makes this a much more meaningful area of support to hold, right? Major MA resistances become major MA supports, and there we are. Now, from a timing perspective here, you got to think about it this way. Think how much longer it's going to take, right? Remember the 4 hour had these in the proper bullish sequence, okay? 6 hour, 50 over 100 over 200, proper bullish sequence. 12 hour, 200 over 50 over 100, not so fast, right? There was a nice bull cross there, okay? But we still have a ways to go to get the 12 hour and above in a bullish sequence here, okay? Way above on, to get much time. 3 day, 100 over 50, 200. And of course, the weekly actually has been in this proper stance for quite a while here, and you can almost barely see the MA50 of any kind of a meaningful rollover here. So still, from a weekly perspective, ever since we did have this cross here, even with the pullbacks of 14K and 10K, the MA sequence is proper on the weekly. Note we hit the 50, MA50 right there on the weekly. And that should be big resistance, just as the 100 was initially when we touched it here and here. The close above was your signal. The back test closed below intra-week, closed it above, another signal there. This is strong resistance here, the MA50, okay, on the weekly chart. We can see it was a pivot here. We can see it was a cluster pivot here. We can also see when we were able to achieve the breakout above it, okay, we kept riding, but the first initial touch there was actually a pretty stiff rejection. And there it is on the weekly MA50, touching it right now. Let's go back to a low time frame. Actually, back to the daily oscillators. We've been watching our CMF. Very bullish here. Nice bounce off our zero line. Touch, accelerate. Near term resistance. Let's make do red. It's right there. OBV. I mean, look at this freaking OBV. This thing has been screaming bullish. Boom. A little tip above. Barely. Right there. All right. And we go back in time here. Remember, this here is Bitcoin 20K, right? So you see how much this little tip here, okay, can add tremendous money. This is very bullish. Okay, we're back at $8,700. We're back to OBB levels that were touched when Bitcoin hit $14,000 over here. And over here when Bitcoin also was over 10 grand, let's say, over here. So this is extremely bullish on the OBV and continues to be so. Daily RSI over 70 again. Now we are double topping here. Remember last time we touched this area was a very strong rejection. A couple times actually. We are right there. Remember, intraday touches, okay, don't reflect when the close happens. So we can go higher intraday, but the RSI will close where it closes, and it won't show you the shadow of where it was during the day. Okay, this is our Stoke. Okay, up here on the topping area here. Now we can drift here, like we did here, okay, here. But we don't necessarily stay topped off that long before a little volatility kicks in. So our squeeze Momo, nice bullish histogram. Still kind of weak here, kind of not that super strong here on our mountain yet. On this move, good, very strong, but April, May. We got more Momo earlier in the month than we're getting now here with this move. That is interesting. Yeah, BitMEX funding. What's going on with BitMEX funding? This friggin' thing just screws up the whole candle here. Looks like we're still shorting here. Yeah, so this was the longs. This is the shorts. So this is still favoring the longs. Kind of. I don't like this data here. I don't trust it. It's really subjective. Yeah. Has been a cold April. And then we have this breakout of our MACD. Now, similarly with our 12 and 26, this is our 12 and 26. So we have the spread here, okay, continuing. Look at this cluster of green bullish histograms, okay? We tend to keep these mountains. This is a very long cluster of bullishness here. We barely had any pullback on this move here. And our resistance area is actually a little higher with our indicators here. I did want to talk about the Ichimoku because this I found very interesting here. We've been very bullish on the daily ever since we were able to break through $7,100. You can also see our Chikoku pushing through here on the green back. Remember, this is 30 days back here, so we're seeing that breakout as well. That's a bullish sign there too. The 3-day actually sits us right at cloud resistance. Let's look at this here. Very tight cluster here where our cloud did its previous Kumo twist bearishly. Okay, spread very bearish here on the Outlander side there, but we still see this cluster of resistance. This is actually another example I would consider as, initial tap should be strong resistance. And we're basically touching that right there. The weekly shows running room. Ooh, look at that. Kaijin Sen. Look at the Kaijin Sen. Right there. This is also resistance here. First top of the Kaijin Sen in quite a while. See how the Tenkan Sen, resistance, 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 then support. First touch of the Kaijin is resistance. That is, again, $8,800. Okay, now we do see running room up to 95 before lower cloud resistance is touched. And that kind of continues, through the rest of the year there. It's really, the first time Bitcoin can break through the cloud on the weekly again, that's going to be monumental here. Especially the first time the cloud does a Kumo twist. Look what's going on right here. We could see this Kumo twist here bullishly sometime soon. We're talking about October, November area here. This could push through that green twist there, and it would be the first one we've had since the one created by the 2017 bull market. Okay, we've been in this weekly red cloud literally from December of 18. Okay, and look at this here going out later in the year, beginning of 2021. This could be that twist again, okay, that can bring us to that next bull market. Remember, once we twisted bullishly here, it's on stamp, but you'd see it there. Once we held that twist green, we never let go of it. So that's something to keep an eye on, going out in the future. But right now, everything is continuing to expand on this bullish push here. And everything that's Bitcoin related is having a day. If you guys don't, I trade Bitcoin, but I also trade stocks and been playing some of the Bitcoin stocks because they're also kind of moving on the momentum. I want to talk about A740. Okay, so see how A740. So this is CME. CME is like $100 higher right now than Bitcoin. The nearest gap, okay, is right here. Actually, it's right. Yeah, it's right there. It's a little higher, actually. I think it's 91, something in that area there. It's right there. Okay, we're very close to filling this gap. It's been open since March on the 4-hour chart. Okay, we do have this gap up here at 11.7. We do have this gap down here at $3,500. Okay, you guys know my, I see another one. Hell yeah, that's a gap. hell's yeah, that is a gap right there. Yeah. So that's a new one there. That's a new one I didn't see there. So that's a new gap on the 4-hour CME. And one to be filled. Now, it would be curious to see on any kind of meaningful pullback if we get down there to fill that and then actually find any support there. So this is the nearest gaps as to where the CME currently is. I refer to the 4-hour as my go-to gap filler, and I've explained that multiple times in many videos, but that's kind of what I see it. And in my opinion, all gaps in the 4-hour have always gotten filled. These are 1, 2, 3, 4 that are still open out of 2 years of trading here, 2 years of price action in Bitcoin. So we'll see which one gets filled first. But again, these are magnets, if you will, that could bring Bitcoin to fill them. And remember, CME, which I noted, is trading at around $100 higher. So Bitcoin doesn't have to get to $9,100 to fill this gap. Bitcoin can get to 88 or something, okay? And CME can then fill the gap on and basically can complete the gap fill and then, move down there. I want to talk about one more thing before we call it a show. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Remember to hit that like button. Good to chill with you here. I know I've been quiet on Twitter. I've been kind of dealing with, all the things that we're all kind of dealing with right now in our lives. But I get more inspiration the nicer the day is outside. Right now, it's actually pretty nice outside. Where the heck is Bitcoin dominance? Where the heck? Oh, I know where it is. It's in my GDAX one. That's right. There it is. No, there it is. All right, so we all know that altcoins have been definitely strong. This is interesting here. I want to see. So this is obviously Bitcoin. There we go. Bitcoin dominance is rising today because it's had the breakout. But as you can see, it's been falling all through April as altcoins have been just kicking it, right? Just killing it. Bullishly diverging. This could be the bottom for dominance here. It definitely could. We definitely have this expanding pattern here. Still could be some sort of a bear flag, like a bear pennant, flag pennant, I guess. But I just have a feeling that Bitcoin is going to assert. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's tough to say still. There's still nothing major about this dominance being in the mid 60s that's saying, oh, alts are done, Bitcoin's having a good day. This is a good bullish pattern here. W bottom here, nice advance on the breakout here. But until we get Bitcoin dominance back to 67, 68, that would be a real trend change constitutor. And right now, I'd say a minimum of 65 would be a start to get, or I guess more like 66 would probably be more meaningful. But until this can break a little higher, alts are definitely still in play. And we'll ride on the coattails of Bitcoin's bullish price action. Now, even in a Bitcoin correction here, I bet you'd see the alts definitely hold up a little better. And there's still nothing yet that says that BTC, other than these moving averages that we've been discussing and stuff, what kind of a rejection would we be looking for? A sentiment change, a change in the Dow, a change in the NASDAQ, a change in that kind of move there. Last thing I want to talk about is the TD. Okay, daily, we are on a 7. Okay, now, this tells us a couple things. We could definitely see a couple more days of bullish price action. But we have this whole candle to put in our 8 and our 9. The 8 and the 9 do not have to be higher than this 7 here. They have to be higher than the 4 and the 5. Okay, so that being said, we could still hit a 9, okay, but it wouldn't be perfected, and it definitely would also it definitely could symbolize the 7 actually being the top candle and not necessarily 2 more days to hit that 9 on the higher high of that 9 there. 3-day on a 3, still pretty early here. In the weekly on a 4, again, still pretty early as well. Lower time frames, anything stand out? On a 7 on the 4 hour. We're probably on a 3 of the 6 hour. Look at the 1 hour and see where we're at here. We just hit a 9 in a combo 13. And then we have a green 2 above a green 1. So, still not seeing any rejections on the sequential. Just the only thing that we're looking for is basically, are we overextended? And those in, MA50 on the weekly and the 3-day cloud, these can definitely be meaningful resistances on the initial touch, which they have done as well. So with that, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. Big Chonas here. We'll talk soon. Stay safe.